Hello everyone! As I always ask if you have any suggestions for runs, it is only fair that I follow through. So today I will be using the Wigglytuff line as requested. It is a fairly peculiar line to use for a few reasons. First off, I won't be using Wigglytuff since it's a friendship evolution which I can trigger at level 6 anyways, and the challenges between Wigglytuff and Jigglypuff aren't that big. Now, for the really peculiar aspect, as they are Gen 1 Pokemon, they follow peculiar rules when it comes to learning moves. See, once I evolve into Wigglytuff, I cannot learn any new move naturally, and since the move relearner is just before the Pokemon League, I will have to delay evolving until I get Hyper Voice at level 41, so I don't miss out on it. Obviously, I will need a Moonstone to evolve anyways, so it might not change anything timing-wise. Now for Jigglypuff stats. Defensively has 115 HP, 20 and 25 in defense and special defense respectively. Offensively, we get a 45 attack and special attack, and a base 20 in speed. So this case is a bit odd. 45 offensive stats is respectable, especially if I take into account the competitive ability, which can help the top. Defensively, well, it's bad, really bad. The HP stat is great, but 20 stats in resistances is horrible, so it will be very frail. Top of that, we are slower than a snail. Lancet wise, we get some useful moves like Sing, Disarming Voice, Hyper Voice, Body Slam, as well as the combo of Stockpile, Swallow and Speed Up, which I might consider using. Thankfully, we do get a big boost with the evolution into Wigglytuff, 140 HP, 45 defense and special defense, 70 and 85 in attack and special attack, and a 45 in speed. The key stats here are the offensive ones, since defenses and speed have marginal improvement. Like I mentioned, we don't learn any new moves, but since this is a Gen 1 Pokemon, our choice in TM is a very good one, since we have access to T-Bolt, Ice Beam, Toxic, Protect, Brick Break, Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Focus Blast, Dazzling Gleam, and much more. We also have access to Work Up, which means that I can freely choose between physical and special attackers set depending on the nature I will get, or even go for a mix set altogether. On top of that, the wide range of TM will allow me to tailor my moveset to each fight, which is something I enjoy a lot. Now let me explain the rule. No items in battle, no EV training, no Z-move, and I can only use Jigglypuff or Wigglytuff. Also, if I can't beat the game at level 100, then I lose. If I use T-Strat, the challenge is a loss as well. As usual, I like to rate my runs with the following criteria. Gladion, How, and Guzma battles give 1 point on the first try. Captain's Fight for Minas Trial also give 1 point on the first try. Counter battles, Lusamine, the Elite 4 and How in the league gives 3 points on the first try, 2 without leveling, and 1 if I can beat it within 4 levels of my first attempt. For the totem Pokemons and Ultra Necrozma, I get 2 points for the first try and 1 point if I can win without leveling up. With this, there are a total of 64 obtainable points. As always, I am writing the script as I go, so let me know how many points you think I can get. Let's get started. After skipping the movie that is the intro, I get to face How. For this one, I gave him Poplio so he can have Primarina later for no particular reason, since I don't think it will matter all that much. And well, I lose the first match of the run. I have Sync, but it's unreliable, and well, I can't be bothered with spamming attempts on this one, so I take the loss and go for the next one. This time, I won't back down, and I would have won my first attempt if it wasn't for a static proc on Pichu, but I get it on the next attempt. He leads Pichu, he goes for Tail Whip as I get a critical pound. He then goes for Thundershock as I KO him. Poplio is lost, I take a Water Gun as I put him to sleep. I go for 2 pound as he wakes up. On the second turn, going for Water Gun. He goes for a pound of his own, and I'm putting him back to sleep. And proceed with spamming pounds until I KO and win. Yeah, if you guys saw my run with Cricketune, you already know that I don't really like relying on Saying to win, but I really don't think I have a choice at this point. With that over with, I can go to the school and beat up the teacher. We also get 2 very important items here, the Quick Claw and the TM for Work Up. I cannot face Ilima, and this is hard. The low stats are really showing their weaknesses here, since with a single Leer, his Yungoos does 80% damage to me, and I don't have enough damage to KO him quickly enough. On top of that, he has full heal, so I can't put him to sleep right away, which means I can't win. So I need to level. While doing so, I try to use Disable to seal Tackle, but it's not enough to win. Eventually, at level 16, I can win if I get to +2 and force him to use a potion. He leads Yungoos, he goes for Tackle as I put him to sleep. He then full heals as I go for work up. He goes for tackle as I go for my second work up. He then goes for leer as I put him in the red with disarming voice. Limmer then heals and I can land disarming voice to KO. Smeagol is next. He goes for tackle, triggering my berry, and I can disable his tackle. And as his only remaining move is Ember, I can take 2 of them and KO him for the win. Well, that wasn't great, but on a side note, I think it is the first time I managed to use disable effective. With that finally done, I can go to the trial against the Totem Gumshoe. Since there is the TM for Brick Break, conveniently placed right before the fight, I think it will be fine. And it goes great. Thanks to my berry, I have enough HP to survive long enough to KO the Totem Gumshoes with 3 Brick Breaks and the last one on the young goose to win. With the first trial concluded, I can move onward and face Hal. I won't have any issue dealing with him since his team is fairly weak right now. He did Sport Leo, he goes for Baby Doll Eyes, triggering competitive as I go for Disarming Voice. We then exchange Disarming Voices, and after taking another one, I can get the KO. Noibat is next, he goes for Supersonic and fall to Disarming Voice. Last is Pikachu, he goes for 2 quick attacks and falls to my Disarming Voices, granting me the win. Now for the first counter fight against Hal, I should do fairly well, although I'm a little worried about his Z-move, and with good reason since I lose my first attempt to it. As I need some Silk Block to win, I also lose the second, but third time the charm. He leads matchup, I connect with Sting and put him to sleep. Ally uses a full heal as I go for Sting once more. I can then go for Workups. As he sleeps, he wakes up on my 4th one and he goes for Focus Energy. Thankfully, I can KO with Disarming Voice on the next turn. My Okuita is next, he goes for Fake Out and then goes for Send Attack, triggering competitive, making my Disarming Voice a guaranteed OKO. Last is Crab Roller, he goes for All Out Pummeling, which I survive with 4 HP and thus allowing me to OKO and get the win. Well, sleep in this game seems to be even worse than I thought. Every important trainer seems to have full restores and the totem Pokemon wakes up faster anyway, so I might replace things soon. With that done, I can move to the next island where I am walled by Dexio of all people. Once more, the unreliability of Sting shows, and while even if I get lucky with it, I can't win against his Espion, so I gotta level up. Now, leveling against a random trainer always feels bad, and it's not a small leveling session either, since I have to get to level 24 to win. I think he deserves a play-by-play for once. He is Mime Jr., he goes for Confusion as I put him to sleep. I can now set up to work up in peace and then go for a round to KO. Espion is next, he goes for Psybeam as I put him to sleep and he stays asleep, allowing me to KO and finally win. With that unexpected wall broken, I can move on and face her once again. I don't think I will struggle since I had to level quite a bit already. He leads Brion, she goes for Aqua Jet as I put her to sleep. I can then set up 2 workups and as I go for a round, she wakes up connecting with a Disarming Voice. She then goes for Breakneck Blitz, which I take fairly well and KO her. Pikachu is next, he goes for Electro Ball before falling to my round. Noibat takes the stage, he goes for Tackle and falls to Disarming Voice. Last is Eevee and he goes for a Quick Attack and falls to a round as well. Not gonna lie, I panicked a little when Brion went for the Z-move. Next up is Gladion. I now have replaced Sing by Stockpile since I believe becoming more resistant is the best choice and well, it sure does look like I'm correct. He leads Zoria, I go for 3 Stockpiles and 2 Workshops as he goes for a couple of Feint Attack and Scratches before going for the KO. Zubat is next, he lands a Wing Attack before falling. Last is type Null, he goes for Tackle as I go for round. We exchange the same move again and he survives with a Sliver, which means that I can KO on the next turn. Well, I did learn something about Stockpile. I can't go for more than 3 stacks. I always thought I could go to +6 with it. Oh well, the more you know. This is now time for the Water Trial and well, this right there is why people usually avoid Gen 7 for monologues with first form Pokemon. The trials are designed in such a way that you need either good stats and more level than the totem Pokemon or a team. And well, as you can see, I cannot win this at all. Arguably, I might have more success if I had kept the Defense Curl Rollout combo, but that meant giving up on Stockpile, which I will need later. By the way, this is only the second trial, so I'll let you imagine how hard Necrozma would be. So after leveling up, I can finally get the win at level 36. The key for this fight is Body Slam Paralysis, which will allow me to slow Araquanid and Cold Masquerain, which triggers competitive, allowing me to have enough damage to KO them both with Disarming Voice. And if you thought that would be the only hard challenge, you would be wrong. The Totem Marowak is always called hard, and it is even worse than usual due to my fairy type allowing Saladol to hit super hard with Venoshock. And it doesn't help that Hidden Power, being the only move available to me that does significant damage, is Dragon type. So once more I have to level up, and even at level 46, I can't win. Thankfully, I've learned all the moves I could, so I decided to look into evolving, and well, technically speaking, I can get a Mooston right now thanks to a pickup mon, so I'm gonna be honest, I was planning on getting one right after this thanks to the Pokepilago, which you unlock after the Marowak trial, but since it looks like I will need to level up even more, and that I don't want to make the rest of the challenge too trivial by being way over leveled, I decided to evolve right now. And well, with the added bulk and special attack, I can easily win this one. On a side note, these two trials took over an hour each to pass, which is a lot considering that my total playtime for these challenges are between 10 to 15 hours. With a new and improved Wigglytuff, I can go face the next trial, the Totem Lurantis. And as you might expect, this is easy. Although I can't seem to be able to OKO Lurantis or Comfey for that matter with a Hyper Voice despite being 20 levels higher. With the trials done, the next Kahuna battle against Olivia is at hand. I really don't think it will be hard, although I will set up just to make sure of it. She did Norris, and as promised, I set up 3 stockpiles while tanking Metal Claws. I also get 2 works up in to ensure my victory. Once all that is done, I can sweep her team. Anora is forced to Hidden Power. Lilip is next. I go for Hidden Power as she goes for Brian. I can then KO, Lycanroc is lost, he goes for Bite and I retaliate with Hidden Power, and just after going for another Bite, I can get the KO and the win. As I thought, easy peasy. This also marks the end of this island, so I can move on and get ready to face Hound. This fight can be pretty hard, but not this time. He is Brion, I set up 3 stockpiles while taking an Hydro Vortex and Bubble Beams, which got the speed drop, triggering competitive. I then go for Work Up, which is a misclick by the way, and get boosted another time by Bubble Beams speed drop. Now at +5, I can sweep his team, starting with Brion, which falls to Hyper Voice. Raichu is next, he goes for Psychic, getting the speed F drop, and thus boosting me once again as I OKO. Flareon takes the stage, he goes for Fire Fang and falls to Hyper Voice. Taurus follows, he goes for Horn Attack and falls to a single Hyper Voice. Knockback is last, and try as he might, he does no damage to me and falls. Well, he had no chance whatsoever. Unfortunately, that also applies to me regarding the next trial. I expected the Totem Togedemaru to be an issue, and well, it's a massive one. As I reach it at level 58, I can't win. Not even close. Togedemaru's ability to stall turns with Spiky Shield and his Citrus Berry allows the Reinforcement Skarmory to freely damage me, and the unpredictability of him using said Spiky Shield makes it a really frustrating fight. I eventually resign myself to not only level up, but to level up until I can do enough damage with a Brick Break to get Dedenne instead of Skarmory. You see, Dedenne will obviously do less damage than Skarmory, but what I really need is the boost from competitive, and as it happens, Dedenne will go for Charm, which will trigger it, which will allow me to win this fight. Also, I need Togedemaru not to go for Spiky Shield on turn 1, which is quite rare, and I can't get flinched by Iron Head obviously. So after reaching level 60, yes, 12 levels higher than my first attempt, I can consistently get Dedenne and eventually get the right fight. As hoped, Togedemaru goes for Iron Head, it doesn't flinch me, which means I can land a Brick Break and get Dedenne. Anticipate Spiky Shield and go for Stockpile while Dedenne does what I needed to do and goes for Charm, triggering competitive. So now I can go for Hidden Power, which is a 2-hit KO, so 2 more turns later, I can KO Togedemaru and finish Dedenne with an Hyper Voice. This fight drove me nuts. I had to reset so many times because on the rare turns I got Togedemaru to go for Iron Head, I got flinched. Also, if I had a Fire or Ground type Hidden Power, this would have been much easier. With the trial finally over, I can face Guzma for the first time, and well, he doesn't stand a chance. He leads Golisopod, I go for Hyper Voice, barely missing the KO and triggering emergency exit. Masquerain is sent in his place and triggers competitive with his Intimidate. He goes for S-Slash, getting the flinch. He goes for another one as I KO him with a crit to boot. Golisopod comes back and I can finish him off for the win. Yeah, every fight where there's a Pokemon with Intimidate will backfire on them and be great for me. Next is the Mimikyu trial, which should be easy since first off I'm normal type and I also have access to Shadow Ball. And well, it goes as well as I thought, if not even better, since on Mimikyu's first player off, she gets the attack drop, which puts me at +2 thanks to competitive. So it's an easy OKO on them after that. And when we go and Guzma re-arrive, I don't anticipate any kind of problem since while Intimidate is going to boost me, guaranteeing him OKOs on his team after that. He discards Isopod, I go for Hyper Voice and triggers emergency exit. Masquerain is sent in his place and graciously boosts me, so after taking an air slash, I can OKO him. Golisopod is back and falls. Last is Pinsir, he goes for Storm Throw and falls to Hyper Voice as well. As usual, Gladion is pissed about something, so have to slap some sense into it. It is Golda, it goes for Poison Fang as I go for Stockpile. It goes for Venoshock as I go for Hyper Voice. I then take another Poison Fang as I work up. It goes for last Poison Fang as I KO him. The Rock is next. We exchange Hyper Voices, but mine is stronger and gets the KO. Last is Type Null. I go for Hyper Voice, which is survives and retaliate with Crush Claw. Thankfully, I am faster, so I can KO him and win. I don't think I mentioned it yet, but I've been using leftovers for a while now, and in this case, it really clutched the fight. Before we storm the other paradise, I have to face Karuna Nano. I would be very confident if I had a very tight move, but since I don't, I'm a little cautious about this fight. Thankfully, Sableye is pretty weak and thus ideal to set up. He did Sableye, he goes for Faker, and then I set up 2 Stockpiles and 2 Workshops while taking Power Gem, before going for Shadow Ball, which barely missed the OKO, which makes Nano heals, allowing me to KO Sableye with 2 more Shadow Ball and Panic. Kokorok is next and grants me a competitive boost, which means that after he hits an Earthquake, he falls to Hyper Voice. Alolan Persian is last and goes for Fake Out. He then goes for Power Gems and falls to Hyper Voice for a new fight. Now that is dealt with, we can head to the other paradise where Guzma awaits. And well, I actually lose twice. Why? Well, his Spencer has the audacity to crit me with Stone Age, which puts me in the range of his Masquerade. Losing twice to 4% crit on the same move is quite rare, but it does happen. So, third time's a charm. He is Goldie Support. This time I go for a Stockpile before going for Hyper Voice, taking a Razor Shell in the process. And as I trigger the emergency exit, Requierement is set in his place. I go for Hyper Voice as he hits a Flash Cannon. I can then finish him off with Hyper Voice. Spencer follows, he goes for Storm Throw, and I OKO him with a critical Hyper Voice. Ha! Serves him right. Masquerade takes his place, he lands an Air Slash and falls in one hit. Goldie Support comes back, allowing me to finish this fight. By the way, in all those fights, he never went for first impression. I do think the AI reads base speed at roughly the level you're supposed to be at, but I still find it weird that he never went for it, since it's still a pretty good move. Anyway, on to the summit. I'm always prudent when it comes to this one when I run with a special attacker, since she has 2 massive walls in Clefable and Monolocke. But I have access to Stockpile, which can allow me to take a lot more damage than usual, so I think it will be fine since Clefable shouldn't do much damage after Stockpile, which will allow me to set up workups in peace. She leads Clefable, I set up my Stockpiles and get some helps with Moonblast drop, allowing me to get to +6 much faster. Now that I am set up, I can go for Hyper Voice and get the OKO. Elegant is next, she goes for Petal Dance as I KO her. Malotix takes the stage, she goes for Hydro Pump as I go for Hyper Voice, KOing. Beware follows and falls in one hit. Last is Lopunny, she goes for Thunder Punch but can't take an Hyper Voice, thus granting me the win. Easy peasy, it's great when everything goes to plan. With this fight, we mark the midpoint of the journey and can head toward Pony Canyon to face the Totem Comor. And well, this isn't easy. He has access to Poison Jab and I can't attack him on the first turn, otherwise I call Scissor, which will destroy me. I have to try a few times since I believe I can use Northern's Screech to OKO Comor, which doesn't work. Well, except that while I was thinking of a solution, I managed to get a crit and win the trial. I'll take it, I guess. With that done, I can face Ultronic Crossbar, and it's quite an issue. After my first attempt, it is clear to me that I need the Quick Claw to activate in order to do, well, anything, since he can OKO with Master Eye. This is also where I remember that Dazzling Gleam was available, which would have been nice for the Comor fight. Anyways, with that learned, I try again, but I can't OKO. Not that I was expecting to, mind you, but I had to test out my damage. So once again, I have to level up. The first thing I need is to survive a Smart Strike, which eventually happens around level 74. That allows me to test if I can win with the Workup and Quick Claw proc Dazzling Gleam, but I am far from it. At some point, I realized that I might be able to take multiple Smart Strike with a Stockpile up, and I can do just that around level 80, but I still can't win. After some more tests, I reach level 86 where I do enough damage to KO with 2 Dazzling Gleams, so I devise a plan. I need to get a double Quick Claw proc, the first one on turn 1 for a Stockpile and the second one on the third turn to KO with Dazzling Gleam. And it does take a fair amount of attempts, but I eventually get it. With that massive hurdle out of the way, I can take on Mina's challenge and face the captain. This promises to be fairly easy and interesting interesting since I can tailor my moveset to each of them. First up is Mina herself, and aside from Morwal requiring Fire Blast to pass safely, I don't need much, especially since she has 2 Intimidate in her team, which means a 3+4 setup for me. She needs Morwal and Intimidate boosts me, I am faster, and OKO with Fire Blast. Ground Ball is next and gives me another boost, and well, I forgot to swap the Quick Claw, so I outspeed and OKO with Hyper Voice. Last is Ribombi, she goes for a Twinkle Tackle and falls to Hyper Voice. Nice try, I guess. Next up is Lima. For him, I get Focus Blast, and well, that should be more than enough. He leads Gumshoes, I go for Stockpile as he lands Hyper Fang, we repeat the same turn, and then I can OKO with Focus Blast. Komala is next and falls to another Focus Blast. Last is Smeargle, he goes for Extreme Speed, which does no damage and falls, granting me the win. Honestly, I don't know why I went for Stockpiles, I really didn't need to. Marlow is up next, and well, I get Fire Blast, which, well, you know, will be more than enough. He leads Trevenant and falls to Fire Blast, as does Chinote. Last is Zarina, she goes for a Bloom Doom but can't survive the Fire Blast. Toasted and Roasted. Speaking of which, it's Kiawe's turn, and I don't have much for him since I can't learn a water type move. The only risk move I can have is Shadow Ball for Marowak, which I do get. He leads Arcanine, he goes for Flare Blitz, which also burns me as I KO with Shadow Ball. Talonflame is next, he goes for Brave Bird and falls to Hyper Voice. Last is Marowak, which falls to a single Shadow Ball. Last is Sophocles. This time I have Focus Blast at my disposal, so it's revenge time. It is Togedemaru, I go for a first Focus Blast, which doesn't connect due to his spiky shield. I then take a Zing Zap as I miss Focus Blast, but I can KO on the next turn after taking a last Zing Zap. Magnetism is next, I am faster so I can cleanly get the OKO. Last is Alolan Golem, I go for Focus Blast, breaking his 30 as he misses a Stone Edge, so I can finish him off with a Hyper Voice. And that's the captain's finish. Now I can take on the last Totem Pokemon, Ribombi. I can't guarantee an OKO since she has a berry for Fire Blast and I can't learn any poison type move, but it should be fine. And well, I lost my first attempt, and the reason is me. I decided to go for Blizzard, which did no damage to Ribombi after a Quiver Dance, and then promptly lost due to the extra damage she dealt. But I do get the win on the next attempt, where I go straight for a Hyper Voice, which gets a crit as she hits a Dazzling Gleam. Well, that is that. To round up the island challenge, I have to face Kawana Hub. I have Blizzard at my disposal, so she won't be an issue. And I somehow manages to miss 3 Blizzards in a row and losing my first attempt. Great. Well, let's try again. She leads Golurk, I connect with Blizzard and OKO. Next is Mossdale, I go for Hyper Voice as he goes for AV Slam, and I can then KO with another Hyper Voice. Gastrodon takes the stage, I go for Hyper Voice as she misses Muddy Water, and one more Hyper Voice gets me the KO. Last is Flygon, he goes for Earth Power before falling to Blizzard. And with that, the island challenge is completed, which means I can head to the Pokemon League. But before I climb up to it, I have to face Glidon one last time. Aside from Crobat, which I want to be able to KO, there isn't much to prepare for. And well, it makes me think those words. As I lose a couple times to him, however, I'm convinced I can win, and I do. He leads Crobat, I go for 2 Stockpiles while taking Cross Poisons, he goes for another one as I OKO him with Blizzard. Lucario is next, he goes for Metal Claw, and I retaliate with Hyper Voice. I take another Metal Claw and KOs him. Zoroark takes the stage, he goes for Hyper Voice, and I answer him with my own, getting the OKO in the process. Last is Silverly, he goes for multi-attack, and I go for Hyper Voice. He goes for another multi-attack, leaving me at 5 HP, and I get the KO with one last Hyper Voice. Okay, I admit that was lucky, but hey, win's a win. Now for the last leg of the journey, the Pokemon. As always, as I can challenge them in any order, I will try to do it from easiest to hardest. And for this challenge, the order is the following: Acerola, Kylie, Olivia, and lastly, Molay. I will be explaining my reasoning behind this as I go, so don't worry. So, as I said, first up is Acerola. She's usually the easiest since ghost types have some very common coverage, which almost every Pokemon can have access to. And well, for us, this time it's in the form of Shadow Ball. She leads Banette, I set up 2 Stockpiles while taking feint attacks, and then OKO with Shadow Ball. Forslass is next, she goes for Confuse Ray as I KO her. Dolmice takes the stage, I go for Shadow Ball, which it survives, and retaliates with Energy Ball. But one more Shadow Balls gets me the KO. Palosan follows, he also takes a Shadow Ball while going for Iron Defense, and falls on the next turn. Giflim is last, and he can't hit me, so I go for 2 Shadow Balls to KO and win. Kylie is next. She is the odd one of the bunch. I can never really tell how hard she'll be, but at the very least having access to Ice Beam makes it easy enough. She needs Braviary. I set up to stockpile as he lands Brave Bird. I can now take another Brave Bird and OKO with Ice Beam. Holucha is next. He goes for Poison Jab as I KO him. Mandibus takes the stage. She takes an Ice Beam and retaliates with a Brave Bird. I can go for one more Ice Beam to KO. Challegne follows and falls to Ice Beam. Oricorio is last. She goes for Air Slash as I land Ice Beam. She connects with Tito Dance as I get the KO and the win. Now for Olivia. Despite being a road type trainer, which isn't the best typing, she does have a fairly solid team, so I don't doubt she can threaten me since most of her Pokemon have a very good attack stat. Fortunately, even though I don't have access to any water type moves, I do have Focus Blast, so it should be fine. She needs Armaldo. I stuck 3 stockpiles on his Crush Claws, which gets a defense drop, triggering competitive. I can now go for the KO with a Focus Blast. Kikaleth is next. I go for Dazzling Gleam, barely missing the KO, and he goes for the Boulders, which puts me at +4 thanks to the speed drop. Olivia then full restores, but my Dazzling Gleam is no strong enough to OKO. Lycanroc takes the stage. He goes for Continental Crush as I OKO him. Crawdaddy follows. I miss Focus Blast, and she connects with Rock Tomb, triggering competitive once more. She's no faster and goes for Energy Ball as I KO with Dazzling Gleam. Last is Probopass. He goes for Sandstorm as I break his 30 with Hyper Voice. He connects with a Power Gem as I land a last Focus Blast to KO him with this fight. I never realized how much stat manipulation her team had, which in this case is great for me. Last of the Elite Four is Monet. This guy is always hard due to his team being fairly well-rounded. In particular, his lead Klefki is very annoying in solo runs since he will paralyze me, making me an easy target for his Metagross and his Bishops enormous attack stat, which in this case is even more terrifying since they try to trump me. And well, he lives up to my expectations since I'll lose a lot of time. I do think I can win with some good paralysis luck though. In order to do anything, first I need to set up 3 stockpiles in order to be able to take any move. Second, I need to KO Metagross quickly since his Meteor Mash does a lot despite me being at +3. Third, I need to get a burn on Magnezone to bypass his 30, otherwise Moline will spam heals and stalls me out of Fire Blast PP, and it also allows him to go for extra Flash Cannons, which are very powerful. And so I need a lot of attempts before I get it, mostly due to paralysis with some Magnezone crits and Speed F drops sprinkled in and there for good measure. Oh, and don't forget a healthy helping of misses from my Blasted Fire and Focus Blast. But eventually I do manage to hit Klefki. I set up my 3 stockpile while getting paralyzed and taking some Flash Cannons. On the KO turn, Klefki goes for Flash Cannon, which gets a Speed Death drop, triggering competitive. Metagross is next. He misses Meteor Match, allowing me to cleanly KO with Fire Blast. Bishops takes the stage. He goes for Iron Head as I KO with Focus Blast. Magnezone follows. He goes for Flash Cannon, getting another Speed F drop, putting me at +4, and I retaliate with a Fire Blast, breaking his 30. Moraine heals as I go for another Fire Blast. He heals again, but this time I get the burn, allowing me to KO. Dugtrio is last. He goes for Cruise Crash, and I can connect with Focus Blast for the KO and the win. Well, it was something. I really thought I had lost when Magnezone got the Speed F drop, since you know, paralysis plus Fire Blast accuracy would usually kick in at this point, but not this time. And that is the Elite Four dealt with, without having to level up at that. So now I have to face the last fight of this challenge. I do take the time to prepare a little, but I don't see any real threat on house teams that require a specific move, since Noivern and Carbonium are both weak to Dazzling Gleam. Tauros, Flareon and Raichu should be easily dispatched with Hyper Voice, especially since Tauros will boost me, so that leaves Primarina, which should be fine with Hyper Voice honestly, but I decide to teach Thunders anyway just for the heck of it. He is Raichu. I set up my stockpiles while taking a payback into Thunderbolt. I then take another Thunderbolt while I land Hyper Voice. Hal then heals on my Hyper Voice, and then he goes for Psychic as I KO with Dazzling. Tauros is next and graciously triggers competitive, putting me at +2 with his Intimidate. He goes for Double Edge as I get the KO with Hyper Voice. Flareon takes the stage. He goes for Flare Blitz as I get the KO. Carbon follows. I am faster and KOs him with Dazzling Gleam. Primarina takes his place, outspeed and connect with Thunder for the KO. Last is Noivern. He goes for a Slash, but one last Dazzling Gleam gets me the KO. And with this, I have completed the challenge with an almost perfect league run. What a challenge! I really believe that you can understand very clearly the strengths and weaknesses of Wigglytuff through this run, I was expecting a harder run than this honestly, especially considering the start of the run, but once I got access to the elemental coverage, she really started to shine. I particularly liked the fact that I could take advantage of a fantastic HP pool and showcase how powerful a defensive setups can be with the help of leftovers of course. Quick disclaimer on that strat though, if you plan on using it, particularly in nuzlockes, crits do bypass the defenses, so be mindful of them. Now for the point tally, we get 44 out of 64 points, which puts her right behind Masquerade. And well, that's it for today. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video. If you enjoyed, why not drop a like, and if you want some more, consider subscribing. I also take requests like this one for future challenges, so don't hesitate to drop a comment. Before I leave, I want to wish a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you watching. I hope you all have a fantastic end of the year. I personally won't be able to make more videos until January, as I will be away until then. Unfortunately, since I am very new on YouTube, I don't have a backlog to feed you guys, so I invite you to check on my previous challenge if you haven't already. Enough rambling, once again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you, and see you in 2025.